Hello, my name is Kathy Benuck, and usually when you see me on tape, it's because I'm taping a TV show called Tell It Like It Is. Well, today I'm planning on telling it like it is, but this isn't a show. This is kind of a commentary on something that's going on right now in the town that we live, Bedford, New Hampshire. Today is Wednesday, December 5th, 2012, and the big news of today in town is the fact that tomorrow night, Thursday, December the 6th, the town of Bedford is going to be holding a community meeting at Bedford High School to address concerns, and I will quote right from their press release, regarding public safety and sense of security following last week's reported home invasion on Proclamation Court in Bedford. Now, for those of you who might be watching outside of Bedford, because I think every Bedford resident knows about this, a little over a week ago, there was a reported home invasion on a street named Proclamation Court in Bedford. And Proclamation Court is in a very nice neighborhood in our privileged little bubble of Bedford. Very nice neighborhood. Most of the homes, I guess, are in the $1 million category. And this home invasion involved injury to the homeowners. The male part of the equation is a well-known anesthesiologist in our nearby city of Manchester. And serious injury. There was a child in the house, 2 years old, who thankfully was not hurt or involved. But this was kind of a shocking thing, and it's a shocking thing no matter what community you live in. But you know, in a town like Bedford, people, as I said, the Bedford bubble, they think these things don't happen here. And of course, crime and bad things happen everywhere, even in Bedford. The announcement of this event tomorrow night has gone far and wide. The town has sent out press releases out to the media world to announce this big event. As a matter of fact, the big event is front page news on today's Union Leader. In today's Union Leader edition. And I mean, I guess the next thing we know, probably Geraldo Rivera will be in town tomorrow, interviewing the chairman of the Bedford Town Council. Because, again, just by the details, privileged, reportedly wealthy community, neighborhood of $1 million and higher homes, well-known doctor, and so on. It has all the elements of that sexy story, that we see Lifetime movies about and such. My head is spinning from all of this, and I'm going to tell you why. Now, obviously, the media is covering this story, particularly the local media, because it is news, and that's their job. And obviously, reporters have been trying to get comments, would like to know as much about the story as they can know, because all of us want to know what happened. And some of that is we're concerned. We're concerned for the family that it happened to. Some of it's because all of us realize that every one of us is vulnerable to bad things in life. But truth be told, a lot of our quest for knowledge is because human beings are basically quizzy. We want to know the details. And I think if anybody's sensible, they realize that we can't know all the details right now, that things are going to play out. And as time goes on, we'll know more and more about the situation beyond the fact that it was a terrible situation that maybe put the fear of God in a few more people that wasn't there 8 or 10 days ago. So, that's the situation. Has the police department been forthcoming with us? Absolutely. From the get-go, they gave statements. They told us the essentials of what happened. They told us that we all did not have to now live in fear. There wasn't something going on in town that all of us, needed to load up a gun if we had it, or if we didn't have a gun, go buy one to protect ourselves. They told us do the normal things we always do and go about our daily life. And the normal things are such things as having a light on at night and keeping your doors locked, and the sensible things that all of us should routinely do, whether or not there's ever a home invasion in Bedford again. So, as far as all that goes, again, yeah, we'd all like to know the story. And the media will keep pushing and will keep showing up in Bedford and will keep looking for comments until they get the whole story. And, is it just an ordinary home invasion gone bad? because somebody broke into a house and didn't realize there were people in it? I don't know. Is there more of a story involved to all of this? I don't know that either. I will say this, the DEA and the FBI are involved in the investigation. So some of us think that that might mean that there's a little more to the story than just somebody breaking into a house. Again, I don't know. Someday we'll find out. Are the police doing their job? I think absolutely. The area has been swarming with police. Our police department does a good job every day. It doesn't take a home invasion to put them into action. Have we learned what's happening? We have. Press conferences have been held. The police chief has told all of us there is no need for all of us to panic and think we're unsafe. They have given out as much information as practically and rightfully can be given out by a police department at this stage of the investigation. Has the police chief been in front of the media? Absolutely. This has made national news. So, yeah, there's constantly people badgering them for more information. But thankfully, he and the rest of the department are doing their job. And their job is to conduct this investigation and bring it to fruition and ultimately get all of the facts and do what needs to be done at that point in time. Do they need to keep us advised of every step of it? Of course not. Because if they did, it would impede their investigation. So what the heck do we have going on right now with our public forum tomorrow night so that residents can feel safe and secure? I'm going to tell you something, and I don't expect a statement from the police department or confirmation from the town manager or from anybody on the Bedford Town Council. But you know what? I feel safe in saying that I'm 100% sure that this little event tomorrow night was not thought up by the police department or orchestrated by the police department, but is simply something that they have to put up with because we have a town council who is reacting instead of thinking. Okay, and that's what I'm talking about today. I'm telling it like it is, because instead of have some of the town council gotten a few calls maybe from residents who are going, oh, I'm so scared, and what's happening, and there's bad things going on in Bedford. Well, their job would have been to assure them that life is as usual in Bedford. We're not involved in a crime siege, and to act sensibly and advise them the police are on it. Don't you worry, we're taking care of it, instead of reacting and insinuating that there's some big dangerous situation that they have to call us all into the high school to give us warnings on how to be safe. Oh, will you give me a break? And you know what else they're reacting to? They're reacting to the fact that there's been media coverage. Yesterday's Union Leader, Tuesday, December 4th. Look at the headline. Bedford neighbors want answers on attack. Well, I can tell you this, that would have set off some of our town council members. And please, I'm not talking all the councilors, because we do have a couple of councilors who I think are pretty sensible and who think things through. But we also have a couple of councilors who, call me rude, but they've established the reputation of being buffoons a couple of times this year, and they're being buffoons right now. They love press. They love coverage if it's good about Bedford. They love it when one of the schools will win an award, or somebody will say house values are fantastic in Bedford, or Bedford got a AAA bond rating, yada, yada, yada. That kind of stuff they love. But if there's anything in there about Bedford that shows us as less than a perfect bubble immune from the rest of the world, they get themselves all worked up. And I'm not just saying that randomly, a little anecdote here. A couple of years ago, I was at a public event and personally stood there when one of our town councilors had a hissy fit, and I do mean a hissy fit, because there was one flag in front of a public building in town that was not at half-mast when other flags in town were. And was having such a hissy fit that right there in front of people, including me, he got on the phone, and this was on a Saturday, and called the town manager, at that time Russ McCoo, who was away on vacation, to complain about this flag. Now, of course, the little thought that went through my head was if the flag bothered him so much, why didn't he get out of the car, go over to the flag, and, just lower that flag to halfway? But instead, hissy fit. And the major reason for the hissy fit out of his own mouth was, what if the union leader came over and took a picture of it? What if they did? So, we've got a situation now where we have councillors pandering to the panicky and reacting because somebody's saying, wow, did you hear what happened in Bedford? And the media has it in the news. And the media has things in the news about every town in the state, but we can't talk about Bedford in anything other than a complimentary fashion. They're protecting us from people thinking that Bedford's not perfect. And what else? We have some counselors who think that they're such experts at everything that they need to be in control of everything, including the operations of the police department. Now, what's wrong with all of this? Is there something wrong with having this public meeting, this public forum? You know what? I'm going to tell you, yes, there is. Yes, there is. Because what they're doing now is they're creating a public uproar. They have put out these press releases. We got front page news. We've got patch with stories. We've got television news. The whole 9 yards, suggesting that there has to be a public meeting for Bedford residents to come to so that Bedford residents can get some peace in mind, because there's some terrible events going on and they're protecting us. They're trying to make us safe and secure. So they're unnecessarily putting in people's mind that we need to go to this meeting to learn, to hear, and to be able to better protect ourselves. They're unnecessarily getting people riled up. That's the first thing wrong with it. What else? They're instilling fear in people. I mean, give me a break. They're instilling fear in people. Out of this article yesterday, I'm going to quote something. The police not only have had press conferences and so on, but they've even had a neighborhood meeting in the Proclamation Court area to advise people that, you don't have to panic. Life is as normal. Yeah, keep your door locked. If you see something strange, give us a call or whatever. To lessen any fears that anybody might have, and to be able to respond that, this is not like a crazy event that everybody has to get panicky over. You don't have to evacuate your neighborhood. We've got it under control. Yet, this story yesterday mentioning that they had this meeting opens up that some neighbors near the site of a reported home invasion say they are not happy with the small amount of information they have received from the police. Excuse me? What are they expecting to hear from the police? Every detail of the investigation? And then there's a quote. Quote, I can speak for the majority of the neighborhood that we're just not getting any answers. No answers at all, end quote, said a Wallace Road resident who asked that his name not be used. That might be the most sensible part of his statement, because you know what? If I made a comment like that, I wouldn't want them to use my name either. What does he expect the police to tell him? I mean, seriously. And it then goes on, again, the quote, but the Wallace Road resident said he believes he has the right to know if the neighborhood is secure, and called for more heartfelt communication from police. He said his children are now sleeping in his home's living room, where they feel, and let me turn the page, safer. Me and my wife are just so scared and paranoid in a way because we don't want them in their rooms, he said. It happened in our backyard, end quote. I could say a lot of things about that. I'm just going to leave that quote where it is. But this is what got probably some of our council members all worked up into a frenzy. Some resident making comments like that, saying that the police need to be heartfelt. They're not giving me enough information. So now we have councilors literally running amok, calling these big public meetings, and as I said, creating a public uproar that didn't exist before and instilling fear that didn't exist before. Yes, are people concerned? Of course they are. Does it make us all realize that we need to be safe? Of course it does. But I get around town and I didn't hear a single solitary person expressing fear. Did not. I heard people expressing concern for the family and wondering what the whole story is. Those are the two first things the council's doing wrong. This is an important one. They're interfering with the investigation. You know, we have our own police department who's very well qualified and our own police chief who's very well qualified to conduct this investigation. They're being assisted by the state police. They're being assisted by the DEA. They're being assisted by the FBI. And, you know, the whole key to investigation is you don't tell the whole story while the investigation is going on because it can screw up the investigation. You don't even tell the whole story when the investigation is over and maybe you even have a perpetrator in custody because there's still a whole court process to work out. And anybody with any sense, any police officer, any court official, any prosecutor or whatever will tell you they don't put out their whole case in the public before a trial. Common sense. They're compromising that. The council is casting a shadow on the Bedford Police Department by even suggesting that this public meeting is necessary. They are. They're casting a shadow. They're making people think, oh my goodness, do we need to worry? Is the Bedford Police Department not doing its job? And you know, the council can posture whatever baloney they want, but that's what they're doing. They're throwing our police chief under the bus. Picture this tomorrow. Do you think the media is not going to be there? Or do you think that the television cameras will be there, the photographers will be there, the reporters will be there with their notebook, they'll be looking for quotes, they'll be interviewing residents, and the best comments are the ones that'll get in print or make it on TV. Oh, I'm so scared. That'll make it on TV. If you're the type that like, hey, let the cops do their job, you probably won't make it on TV. You know, seriously. And will these reporters and so on be sticking a microphone into the police chief's face or raising their hands at the microphone, trying to pin the police chief down to give more information? Yes, you know they will. And will the police chief be able to respond? No, of course he won't. He will have to vaguely answer and say, I'm sorry, we're working on that. I'm sorry, we can't disclose this at this time, etc. Which, of course, now, you know, folks like who are here saying he wants more heartfelt information will get themselves all riled up because they'll think the chief should tell them more because they want to know. So they're throwing our police chief under the bus, which is wrong. They're contributing to the media circus. The same media circus that has them all riled up, they're contributing to. Because this is going to get coverage, you know. Citizens fired up, demand answers. Those will be the headlines. And you know what? You know what makes me even madder? They are jeopardizing our police officers. You know, our police officers are out there, and I can guarantee you that not only in that neighborhood, but all over town, they're out there a little more than they were 8 days ago, simply because there is an investigation going on, and they are 100% observant at every moment of the day to protect us. They're jeopardizing them, because what if some Yahoo person hears a twig creak in their backyard and thinks, oh, home invasion, and goes running out with a shotgun and shoots one of our cops? I mean, be serious, it happens. They are jeopardizing the safety of every police officer in this town through their foolishness, through their posturing, through their inappropriate reaction, and, you know what, through their own desire for some publicity, so that everybody will know what a great job the council's doing for us. Balderdash, they're doing damage to us. And we all need to react to that. You know, some years ago, and I'm almost done, but some years ago I worked with a Southern gentleman. And when he would see, particularly a public official, do something really foolish, he would refer to them as a horse's patoot. And I didn't know what he meant, but apparently the Cajun language, or the Cajun dialect, I guess is the better way to put it, Patoot refers to the posterior. So take it from there. Horse's patoot. And you know what? I'm kind of thinking that that's a word we need to use a lot more of in Bedford. And right now, I think we can apply it to at least some members of our town council. The best thing that could happen tomorrow night is that nobody would show up at their public forum as a statement that, you know what, we think you're foolish and we think you did something wrong and we're not putting up with it. But unfortunately, people will show up. People will show up because they fired up a level of terror in town, and there'll be people who'll show up to just watch the craziness, and there'll be people who'll show up hoping that somebody from the media comes over and sticks a microphone in their face. You know, am I commenting on this today? Yes, I am. Because, again, you know, I think we deserve better from our elected officials. I think that we should demand that before they act and before they again demonstrate buffoonery, that they think things through and do the right things by us. And are they doing the right thing with this tomorrow night? Absolutely not. And somebody needed to tell it like it is, and I did it, like it or not. Thanks for watching. And if you agree with any of this, send this out to all your friends and have them watch it, okay? Thanks. Bye.